Welcome to the replay. Hello, Tea Family. Sorry about that. Had some technical difficulties today. That's just how it is, unfortunately, some days. Tea Family, we have technical difficulties. All of a sudden, right as we were about to go live, my computer did something funky and I had to reset everything. So, I just wanted to say, as I'm kind of clicking through a bunch of stuff, all right, welcome. I am happy to see everybody here again. Feel free to say hello in the chat. And then also today we're really going to be focusing a lot on questions and answers. So if you have a question about tea or tea related things, please feel free to put them in the chat. My handy dandy assistant over there, you can't see him, but he will help us. Go ahead and get those to me. I will keep looking down every once in a while just in case anybody puts them in the chat and I can kind of look, but that's where I'm going to look down and try and keep an eye on that as well. But I wanted to start by saying welcome. I know we're getting closer and closer to Valentine's Day, so hope everybody's gotten all set. All right, well, we are starting today with something fun that we talked about last week. And what we talked about was we're going to make a mocktail. Now, I know I did a whole series of reels between Christmas and New Year's, actually between New Year's, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and a little after Christmas on mocktails and cocktails with tea. So this is not one of those. You have not seen this recipe. In fact, I perfected it yesterday, left it on the counter, and I won't mention any names, but my handy dandy, super amazing assistant came home and tried it. He's like, this is really good. And so I don't have a sample for you to see a finished product before we start. Someone, I'm not going to mention any names, but someone consumed it, so that's okay. All right. We have a working title for this mocktail, but after we get to the end of it, feel free to put in the comments what you think it should be named. All right, that being said, again, you could say hi in the comments, put your questions in the comments, and we're going to go ahead and get started with the mocktail. Now, it says in really tiny print that this is all going to work correctly camera-wise. But as you can see, we're already having technical difficulties. There we go. This is what a messy desk looks like. All right, everybody. So we're going to start off with the tea. Handy dandy assistant, could you bring me the tea? So while he gets that, today's tea is Earl's blend. And I'm going to put this up here. We're using Earl's blend. And that is just a really thing. And I did brew this one ahead of time. You can look at the color. I put it in here because I'm running out of cups and things for this. So, but yeah. Earl's blend is what we're using. So I made 4 ounces of this, and I used the regular strength. Now, the reason why I did that is I wanted it a little bit stronger, but you're going to want like 4 to 6 ounces of this. And do we have any ice? Oh, handy dandy assistant.
We got this.
All right. My handy dandy assistant is going to bring some ice over. Perfect. So, one other thing, see? This nice little basket of ice. Yep, that's it. So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to start off with strawberries. Just plain old-fashioned simple strawberries. You're going to need 3 if they're medium or small. You're going to need probably only 2 if they're big. And we are going to dice them up. There we go. Really small. There you go. Now, we do want, We do want fresh ones. If you were using frozen, you could do that, but we prefer fresh. Now, a lot of times you will notice that we use, and all I'm going to do is put these in the bottom, the strawberries in the bottom right now. We do use a lot of freeze-dried fruit in our teas. The reason why we use freeze-dried fruit, unfortunately we lose some of the wonderful aromas before it's brewed, but we do that because things like strawberries have a very high sugar content, and we want to make sure that we are getting, that they're not going to go bad. Hello, Jill. Welcome, welcome. We've just started making our mocktail. We've got strawberries, 2 small to medium, or 1 really large strawberry in our glass. And I'm just going to kind of mash these up. Just a simple little fork. We're going to make a nice little mash for our Valentine's mocktail with tea. All right. Now, the other thing is optional. I have a little basil leaf from our thing downstairs, and a lot of times what I will do is I will kind of bruise it with my fingers.
Looks like mint.
And I'm going to put it in here, and then we are just going to kind of mush these up so we get a lot of good strawberry juice. We love strawberries too, Jill. That's amazing. So, all right. Now, these were cut really, really tiny. Again, there's just a couple pieces left on the plate for you to see. But if you had used strawberries, you can go in there and just kind of cut them up a little bit, but you really want to kind of almost model them. Now, we are going to go ahead and add just about, I don't know, maybe a tablespoon.
She's drinking Nautical Twilight.
She's drinking Nautical Twilight. Oh, that's a good one right before bed, no caffeine. Okay, so we have this. We're going to put some, so it's weird because when we make the teas, we don't touch anything with our hands, but since we're the only ones that are going to be drinking this tonight. So that plan to have these all ready to go in the freezer is backfiring us right now. They won't come out of the bowl. That's what you get when you do live. All right, I am taking my Earl's blend that I created earlier today. We brewed it up, and we are definitely let it cool. I have done this before where I've made a mocktail and the tea is still pretty hot. You just have to add extra ice and make sure you're brewing it even more, that you're adding extra ice and you brew it stronger. That way when it's watered down from the extra ice. Now I'm adding probably about 2 ounces of apple juice to this. You'll notice there's not a lot of sugar added here. You're going to get some sugar in the apple juice. You're going to get some sugar in the strawberries. You've got your Earl's blend. And then I want to talk for a second about this. I am using, I use Remy Bees, and one of the reasons why I'm showing you this, there you go. This is a vanilla infused honey, and what I did was I made a vanilla honey simple syrup. So there's 2 easy ways to do that, and you're going to use about 2 tablespoons of that. So that would be the other way to sweeten it up. So how I do that is you could either get some of their vanilla infused honey, and then it is tablespoon of this to a tablespoon of water. You're going to want to stir that up and warm it up a little bit just so it dissolves really well. Do not let your water get above 140 degrees. Otherwise, you are going to kill all the yummy goodness in your raw honey. I've got this much left, so obviously I need to talk to my friends, Angie and Dion. It's time for me to buy some more. But we use this a lot. It adds a great flavor. Now, if you didn't have the vanilla honey, you could do a tablespoon of honey and a tablespoon of water. So a tablespoon of the honey, a tablespoon of water, and you could add a little vanilla extract. Again, you're going to want to heat it up to kind of burn off that alcohol. You're going to lose some of the yummy goodness from, but I get it infused. So we've added all our ingredients, 2 tablespoons of the vanilla honey simple syrup, about a tablespoon of our crushed up strawberries that we further crushed up, some 2 ounces of apple juice, and then we had about 4 ounces of the cooled down Earl's blend. And now,
Kendra says hi.
hello, Kendra. All right. So now you're gonna watch me make a mess. I can usually do it okay here. For some reason, I'm not really talented at not making a mess. Okay, so far so good, it's just on my hands. Okay, now, I am going to pop a couple of ice cubes in here. They were out on the counter too long, so they started to melt. And again, remember, while we're making this mocktail, feel free to put any of your questions in the comments so we can answer them. Look at that. You guys are good luck charms for me. Look at this. I didn't even make a mess over here. That never happens. Usually there's water all over the table and different things like that. I'm just going to give this a quick stir. Now, you can dress this with lime. I like to dress it with a strawberry on top. Now, we'll see if the camera works for us again. Hello, everybody. I can see you again, which means I can't see the computer as much, but I will say cheers. Very strawberry. You get the blend of the Earl's blend. To kind of balance off the sweetness. I will tell you, I don't personally only put about a tablespoon usually for me of the vanilla honey simple syrup because I don't like it as sweet, but it is delicious. Okay, I'm going to stop drinking it now so I can talk. Maybe. Maybe not. I'm also kind of waiting for my handy dandy assistant to come steal it like he did last night. So, we had as a running name for this mocktail, the Earl's Love Potion with kind of a Valentine theme. I would love for anybody who's willing to put themselves out there tonight to enter into the comments what you think we should call the mocktail. So go ahead and put that in the comments as well as any of your questions while we're doing it. While you do that, I am going to give you a little sneak preview. We've got a live show, a live tea party coming up on February 2nd. And
Strawberry Delight.
Strawberry Delight. Now see, that's what my husband said. You are now his favorite person because you agreed with him. So as you know, we do all sorts of things at the show. And one of the things that we do is we typically have a basket in it that has some tea and some tea accessories and things like that. And we found this teapot. Isn't that delightful? So this is the teapot that's going to be going in one of the baskets for that show. I just thought I'd give you a little sneak preview of that. All right, so Strawberry Delight, is that our contender? Because we can call it a Strawberry Delight. It's so good. I just want to drink it. Oh my goodness. Anyway, you know what? I like it. Yeah, it is super. I looked down at like it is super pretty. Even without, like, you smell the strawberries, but you definitely smell some of the Earl's blend.
Angela.
And yeah, you know what really does it for me? Again, the honey, Remy B's. Their infused honey that makes that vanilla honey simple syrup so amazing. And it balances really well with the Earl's blend. Yeah. So right now, we have Strawberry Delight. Do we have any questions or anything like that coming up so far? If not, I know I have some questions that had already come in that had been sent to me during the week. And I'll start to answer those. So one of the questions that came into me is, People wanted to know why I don't recommend tea balls like this. And what I will tell you is, yes, I have one in my house. Yes, I do use it. But that's because a lot of times when we're testing tea, I don't do a full cup of tea. I only do a half a cup of tea. And so we make half as much. And so it's not as bad when we're trying, 4 or 5 different variations of the same blended ingredients. We just did our jade chai, which is a green chai tea. Right now it's only available in our green sampler set, but that will be very soon that we will open it up and put it on the website and everything. But when our 2 youngest children were here over Christmas, we had like probably 5 or 6 different blends, and you start to run out of equipment and you don't want to drink, you make a whole cup for each of them. So that's what we use this for, but otherwise it does not allow the leaves to fully expand like they need to. So we don't recommend this. Instead, this is typically what you will find me using. In fact, you can see that it's stained. It used to be all silver, but it is very big, and I will use this for just 1 cup. Just make it my 1 cup of tea, like here. I'll put this in the top. I will put the tea in there. I will pour the water till it just covers it, and then this is what goes in my little dishes, my ramekins like this, and it sits there until I want to use it again. So this is my actual go-to most of the time. I do have this one. Now you'll see these, and they have really, really tiny ones. Again, we have a tiny one because it came in a set of 2, but when Santa Claus put it in there, Santa knew that we would use that one for samples, and we would use this one, which is really, really big. I mean, 4 my fingers, you can tell a really good idea of how big that is. And again, we can do this. I like this basket style for when I've got like a long to-go mug, or I'm doing it in like a measuring cup or something like that because I'm going to brew tea and then I'm using it for a mocktail or something like that. Like this one, but I'm not going to drink again because I'll drink the whole thing down while we're sitting here.
Go ahead, I dare you.
Do not dare me. Anyway, and then this is one of my, I really like this too. This is another, you have an infuser that'll either go in a teapot or in a teacup. But if you look, that is really big. Try and give everybody size there. Like, it's bigger than my 4 fingers put together and very wide. Look, you can see me through it. Sorry, little kid. I'm always looking at the camera where it comes up behind it so I can see what you all see. So that's kind of one of those things. Again, we want to have lots of room so that there's lots of area for the tea leaves to expand so you get the best flavor and you get full flavor. So those are some of the things that I use. That was one of the questions that we had. Do we have any other questions? Or any other comments on what the name should be? So, all right, well.
Come on, Kendra.
All right, well, that's okay. It's time for us to do one more little sneak peek. You know, I always, my tea time chatter people, I like to give you guys the sneak peek of some other things. So this is one of the other things that's going to be going up. Little teacup. And this will be in our live tea party live sale that's coming up on February 2nd. All right. I don't want to avoid the other question that we had, and that is, I know I've shown this several times. This is an actual, it says a perfect cup of tea or a cup of perfect tea. It is really good. I've shown it to you all before. It is what we use when we are in making a cup, you know.
Amy had a comment.
Amy had a comment. I use the bigger stainless steel piece to steep my tea. Highly recommend. Absolutely, Amy. I love really big infusers like this. And my basket. These are my go-to. These are my go-to, which is why you can tell because they're not all perfectly pretty and silver anymore. Whereas, see the color difference? You can tell I don't really use this one because it's so pretty. But yeah, actually, love that too. All right, and the teaspoon, I looked down, I said the teaspoon is a must. It makes it so easy. So I'm the nerdy geek that will literally weigh out 2.5 grams because, for instance, on our chais, you need less than this teaspoon. But on Evening Mint or any, our Appealing, I know that's Kendra's favorite, that one I need more than this. But one of the questions that I got this week sent to me was this right here is, do you have a spoon? What do you do for a pot? Do you just count? And what I would say is yes. If you have a teapot, I'm going to show off this teapot again because it's super pretty. So this teapot, I would find out how many cups this is, and I will tell you it's probably 4 to 6 cups is my best guess. But I could just put, 4 of whatever of these in there. And this is, again, why I like the baskets, because I can just snug that little basket in here. Okay, maybe not that one. Definitely not that one. This is why we have, so it would be this one. I can snug this in there. It's okay. There we go. So I would snug that in there. I would put the tea in. There we go. So he finds the other one that we use. We have one that's slightly smaller for some of these.
Handy dandy assistant.
The handy dandy assistant wins again today. But when I put it in there, I can put the tea in and it's plenty big. But yeah. So I could put that many cups of these spoons in. But I also have one of these, and it says a perfect pot of tea, and it's for 3 to 4 cups, so I could put like 1 or 2 of these in, depending. I have it because my children and my husband get me fancy tea stuff, which for some reason works for me. But anyway, for those that got here a few minutes late, here's our mocktail. We used Earl's blend. We used a vanilla honey simple syrup using vanilla honey from Rummy Bees. We had 1 basil leaf, and we had 2 strawberries that went on the inside, and then we had 1 right here as our decoration. Ice, and then the Earl's blend is what we used. And that is what went into this. So if anybody wants the recipe for this, maybe you came in after we finished it. First, you can watch it on the replay, but second of all, feel free to reach out, put it in the comments, message me, and I will get you all your ingredients. It's super easy to put together. All right.
Except for the honey.
Except for the honey.
Infused honey.
Yeah, if you're getting the infused honey, just go on their website and grab it. Or if you live local to me, then you can grab it from them. I'm going to have to grab some myself locally before I make some more. Any other questions? Okay, Amy, the difference between English, Irish, and Scottish blends of tea. That is an awesome question. So, an English breakfast is typically a blend of black teas. The 3 most popular teas that we use, generally speaking, worldwide, they do an Assam, a Ceylon, and a Kimum for a blend of those teas. But they could add in oolong, they could add in other black teas, but it's just a blend of black teas. Typically, an Irish breakfast is a more caffeinated one, so they have more Assam in it. It has a higher percentage of Assam than other ones. And then a Scottish tea, again, it just changes the blend for the 3. There are so many. There's like a French breakfast. There are so many different varieties of breakfast tea. So one of the interesting things about that, okay, I find it interesting, but again, I'm the nerdy geek, is my assistant just called me a nerd. How dare he? Is the fact that there is no official one recipe for a breakfast blend. When we were creating our breakfast blend, we wanted to make sure we weren't stepping on anybody's copyrighted toes and everything like that. So I wanted to make sure, I wasn't going to steal someone's proprietary blend and get in trouble for that. And what I found out is there is none. If each company can have their own proprietary blend, but they don't necessarily share that. And so we created our own of those 3 teas in a different ratio that we liked. So that is the difference. It's the differences in the makeup of which black teas they use and how many of them that determine whether it is a breakfast, an Irish breakfast, or a Scottish breakfast tea.
Angel and Kendra have questions.
Okay. Okay, let me look.
Knows the answer.
Angie, you missed it. We talked about that. I said, do not let your honey go over 140 degrees or you lose all the yummy stuff. See, I listen to you guys when we're next to each other at shows. Oh, man. And are there different temps for different types of teas? Yes. Black teas, we will typically go 200 to 212 is what we want. Typically, I will boil herbals. Remember in a previous tea time chat, we talked about tisanes. They actually don't have that Camellia sinensis tea plant in them. So those all are typically done around boiling. And then green teas, they're typically like 175 to 180. And then those are primarily what we offer. White teas are even like they're 165-ish. Oolongs, a lot of people are like, well, an oolong should be like 180 to 190, and some people 190 to 195. Typically, I will do, I don't want to spill my mocktail, I'll be crying. Typically, I do my oolongs at a little higher temperature. I treat them closer to the black tea that they are. So, good question, though. All right. Oh, Kendra, I hate that you're not feeling well.
We'll get a T-Mobile ready.
Yeah, I mean, I think my handy-dandy assistant should make some appealing for you and bring it over there. But I hope you feel better soon.
We'll go over to her house, set up the whole tea bar, and
Amy,
take it all.
Amy, I love that you're a geek learning about tea too, because and Stephanie's here now. She'll pop by. Okay, so I know Stephanie was picking up her husband. She shared with us that she wasn't gonna be here. This is what it looks like. I'm trying not to. Do you see how much I've had already? I've already had like this much of it. It is so good. Okay. But Stephanie's gonna go make some tea for Kendra. Did I have another question in here? Hey, Elizabeth, welcome. A lavender infused honey that you use in Maiden's Blush. That is amazing. The lavender would be good. So Maiden's Blush is one of our Rooibos rose petal. It's our Rooibos rose petal blend. Fun fact about that one. Who was it? It wasn't last June. It was the June before. We actually created that blend, and then for the month of May, it was originally supposed to be just a blend in June. Silly us. Every time we think we're making something for a limited time, it ends up being really popular, so we end up having it all year round. But the Maiden's Blush, we made it, and then when we were at our local community farmers market, we actually had a contest of the people tasting it and telling us what they thought it should be named. And there were 5 different names that they had come up with, and then they could write their own in. And it was hands down Maiden's Blush. So the other one to try with Maiden's Blush is it was not lavender, it was the vanilla honey, which is why I have very little of my vanilla infused honey left, because when we tried that, and Angie and Dion with Remy Bees, they tried it. It was amazing. So one of the things that they'll do is we'll try different combinations, but that one works really well too. So try that, Elizabeth. Okay, and
until Ruby Chai came up.
And Jill's like, I love Maiden's Blush, my favorite of the samplers I got. It's one of those things. I love the fact that most of the time when we make Maiden's Blush, even if when we have free samples out in person, people are like, yeah, I don't like tea. And I'm like, well, this one doesn't have the tea plant in it. Feel free to try it or not. And they're like, yeah, especially if it's really hot out and we've got the cold brewed, the cold ice, not iced tea because there's no sugar in it, but we have it cooler. And they'll be like, you can watch their face like, that doesn't taste like tea. Now, some people still don't care for it, and that's cool, but a lot of people, they're like, oh, that's really good. Same thing happened a lot with our ruby chai, yeah. So I think that rooibos really surprises them, and the rose petals in the maiden's blush really balance well to not allow the rooibos to have that medicine-y taste it could potentially have.
Yeah, it doesn't need sugar.
It doesn't need sugar. You know, that's another thing we get asked a lot is, does this, when we make up the maiden's blush, does it have sugar in it? And we're like, no. And people are like, are you sure? I think it has honey in it. And we're like, no, it goes great with honey, but it doesn't. It is also another really great Valentine tea, because you get the rose petals, and it's a caffeine-free blend, so you can have some. But yeah.
Amy has a question about temperatures.
Okay, Amy has a question about temperatures. Okay.
Have to get the thermometer.
I have an electric kettle. How do we know the water's the right for the green and white teas? So here is what I would say. If you watch, she does have an electric kettle, or she does not have one?
She does. She has an electric kettle, but they don't have one like yours.
They don't have one that has the temperature. No big deal. I have one that doesn't have temperatures. It's downstairs. Oh no, it's we had one of them that we brought to our church, and one is downstairs.
Oh, yeah.
And what I do is watch your water. So, you know, when you start to get close to the boiling part and you see a lot of bubble, when you first see the bubbles start to simmer on the bottom, let it go until they're pretty consistent, and then that's about good for a white tea. Let them go until it's simmering but not boiling, and that is about right for a green tea. So those are my hints for watching the electric kettle and not necessarily doing it. I know that there are people that are like, hey, just let your water come to a boil and then wait how many minutes, but that really depends on your regular stovetop kettle. And if you have an electric kettle that you can see through, that's so much easier to do it that way for me. Okay.
Or a thermometer.
I mean, you could bring out the thermometer, but like, I really think that we're the only geeks that do stuff like that. Any other questions?
Any names for the drink?
Okay, so again, I'm going to go over the ingredients one more time for anybody who may have come in later, or to just remind you what we have. That Angie was saying they have the temp ones on sale on Amazon now. See, we cheated and we got one. Except we used one of ours so much. We used it too much and it died. It said it wanted a rest from all the tea that we made in it, and so we had to buy a new one in October, I want to say. We were like, I'm gonna get the one I can set and not have to worry about it. Okay, last call for names, because this is officially going to be the name. I'm going to take clips of us making it today, of this mocktail today, and I'm going to put it up on a reel sometime this week, depending on how work goes. So what's our name, people? It has 4 to 6 ounces of a stronger Earl's blend. It has 1 to 2 tablespoons of our vanilla honey simple syrup, about 1 to 2 ounces of apple juice, 1 basil leaf, and 2 strawberries muddled up, finely diced and added in here, as well as some ice. And no, I said the apple juice. So the names we have, Earl's Love Potion and Strawberry Delight are the 2 we have, or someone else can add a 3rd one in there.
Or 5 or 6.
Or 5 or 6, they could, but. All right. Next week, one of the things we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about our Starlight pair, and we're going to do some tea pairings with food. Like, what would we have it with, and what would different things you could pair it with for foods, snacks, different things like that.
Describe the taste.
Describe the taste. Definitely. You get kind of the citrus from the Earl's blend. You've got vanilla and honey, and then you get the black tea kind of of balancing everything out so it's not overly sweet and it's not overly sugary. You know what I mean? It's just a very light flavor. This is not one.
She'll have to come over and get some.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I invite you to make. I get a light spring Valentine heart because you do have a good amount of strawberry in it. Yeah, light, fruity, but it's not like a green tea one. It is a little heavier because you have the Earl's blend, but it's a nice mix. It's refreshing, really refreshing, which is why I keep drinking it as opposed to my regular tea. Earl's Delight. Did I say Earl's Delight? Earl's Delight. I said Earl's Love Potion and Strawberry Delight, but Amy, that's a great one. Earl's Delight. And we have Prairie Delight. Now there's another good one. Okay. So, how about one more vote? We'll see if we get anybody else on the names. Man, okay. Strawberry Delight, Earl's Delight, Prairie Delight. I think we're going with Delight. Something Delight. So, Strawberry, Prairie, or Earl's?
Geek Delight.
Oh, we may have vote for Earl's Love Potion. Okay? Start putting your votes in. It's all good. And we will say that if you're watching this on a replay, like if you've missed part of it, you really want to kind of see what the ingredients are as we put them in, go ahead and do that. You can put it in the comments later. I will probably leave the voting open until tomorrow or Tuesday morning, and that way I will have, well, at least till noon tomorrow. Let's say noon tomorrow on Monday, and that way I can get the reel together, and then you will. Kids don't need a love potion, though. I get it. Earl's Afternoon Delight. Ooh, see, this is where we need you all to start coming up with these things. That's awesome.
Strawberry Delight from Kangaroo.
Oh, we've got 2 people on Strawberry Delight now. That might end up being our winner there. But I'll officially leave the voting up until noon tomorrow on Monday. And that way, that'll give me time. And then next week, if you missed the reel, that's not a problem. I'll be able to tell you exactly what we did. But again, next week, we're going to talk about some food pairings, not just with Starlight Pair, with some other things. More questions. If you have more questions, please feel free to shoot them my way. And then I think we might have another surprise next week.
Vanilla infused strawberry delight. There we go.
Vanilla infused strawberry delight. That's a lot of words. That's a lot of words. All right. With that being said, everybody, thanks for joining us live. We appreciate that you're here. Make your mocktail, and I will say cheers until next week.